Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Chaves Redencion 229 with the Lee Williams Kickstop. Where did the flipper tab go? I swear he just flipped it. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the Kickstop, it's actually back here, resting independent of the blade. As the blade comes back around, it actually pushes the flipper tab back out, and then you can do it again to your heart's content. I had thought like we've reached the pinnacle of flipping action and there's just no way for it to get any better. And then I was introduced to the Lee Williams Kickstop on the F22 and realized I'm dumb. It's always dumb to think that we've reached the pinnacle of anything, right? I mean, pretty much as soon as people start saying that, you just get slapped down. I was slapped down by the Lee Williams Kickstop. Something about the transfer of energy with this flipper tab not being connected to the blade. It also makes a little bit of extra noise. I'll shut up for a second so you can hear it. Ah, man. It's so good every time. Something about that, I don't know. If there is science behind it, maybe it's in my head, maybe not, I have no idea. It does feel better though. It's very satisfying to flip this thing. I never really knew that I wanted a 229 with a flipper until I experienced this. Thanks so much to eKnives for providing this knife for review. You can still get this. It comes in G10 and titanium. I've got a lot to say about it, but if you want to check this knife out, it'll be right down in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that is entirely up to you. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. This is going to go quick because it's really the same thing as the 229 that I reviewed from like 2019. It just has the Lee Williams Kickstop, right? So I don't know that I really need to re-review the entire thing. The overall length, I will do specs for people. The overall length is still about 8 inches. Cutting edge, I'm sorry, blade length is still 3.5, and your cutting edge on this guy is actually 3.35, whereas on the OG, right, which is right here. You can get this knife, by the way, both in Tanto and in drop point, which will look a lot more like this. These guys back here, I say OG, it's actually not the OG because it's based on the Redencion. Then there was the 228, which was made in the United States, and then they moved production to Riot, that's what we're looking at here, is a Riot made 229. So, the cutting edge on this guy is actually only 3.25. This guy's got slightly more cutting edge because of how they do this area right here. I guess to accommodate for the flipper. I don't know. I like this setup better though, and I'll talk more about it. But otherwise, these are pretty much the same. They are the same thickness. Obviously, the flipper version does not have thumb studs, and maybe they could have added thumb studs. I don't really know. I can't say that I really care all that much. Everything looks to be pretty much exactly the same. The pocket clip on the old one, this is when they just came with the skull clip. Now they come with the skull clip and a regular clip, but everybody's mad because they put the screw holes in the forehead. The stuff that people will complain about is just hilarious to me. Says a guy who just cannot stop complaining about lanyard holes. All right, fine. Fine, you got me. Imaginary person arguing with me, right? But yeah, if you don't like the skull clip, right, you can let me know. I'm sure you're like, don't take away my ability to complain. Don't take away the validity of my complaint, right? Just because it comes with another clip doesn't mean that I can't complain about the skull clip. All right, fine, go ahead. There's a comment section. You just let everybody know what you think. But it does come with a regular clip, which I have changed out on this one because I have one with the skull clip already, right? But yeah, there you go. I don't know that there's really any other differences. I just wanted to show that real quick so you guys knew, what was going on there. But we'll do some size comparisons up against some other knives. How about up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2? How about up against the Demco 80 20.5? How about up against the Spyderco Para 3 and the Spyderco PM2? There we go. And then last but not least, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Benchmade Bug Out. So how's the action? Well, we kind of already talked about it. The action is extremely good. If you've ever thought like, I don't know, like the Redencion, and now you can get the better clip, but I'm not sure that it's really all that great of a knife. If you've ever been curious, Honestly, I think this is the one to get. I think the Lee Williams Kickstop on this just makes it extremely interesting. I mean, if you like the studs, if you like opening it with thumb studs, then you can go with one of the regular ones. Which one do I think is more satisfying to open? Definitely the Kickstop version. This is fine. It's okay, right? I mean, you can reverse flick it and you can thumb flick it out, and it's pretty good, right? It's not the best thumb stud opener ever. This Lee Williams Kickstop, it's almost like, I mean, the two knives that I've handled have just taken, knives that I think would have been fine with a bunch of different opening mechanisms, right? But it's just like made them amazing. It's just funny to me that it actually changed my experience with this knife that much, which sounds silly and dramatic, but I mean it. I think the Lee Williams Kickstop on this guy is really, really cool. So yeah, the action's extremely good. And this was almost fall shut right out of the box, which is nice because Riots tend to be a little tight, right? And then they have a long break-in period. A lot of the newer Riots seem to have backed off from that. They're still tight enough that there is a break-in period so that things don't come all loosey-goosey. But yeah, the action is incredibly smooth. And the detent is tuned flawlessly. Ugh. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Let's do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. This is not a huge... No, it's a little... I mean, it's thicker, right? I mean, you're going to notice this. This is really shaped like a brick. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This guy's going to be a lot closer to the size of the PM2, but it's going to be way more noticeable in the pocket because there's quite a bit of titanium. This thing has quite a bit of heft to it in general, including the flipper tab. It's actually pretty tall. I think most people will notice this compared to their average pocket knife. I think this is probably bigger than the average pocket knife, right? Again, average. Cold Steel fans typing me up a paragraph. Average, right? We get it, right? You've got a Cold Steel Formax. That's really cool. Did you know that it's available to everybody? Like literally anybody with money can just buy it and just be you. Okay, I don't need to stir the pot. Wow, it weighs 6.5 ounces. No surprise, they will not mill these things out for weight reduction. I don't know why. Ramon Chaves, I doubt he's watching. Why don't you mill these out? It's fine. I mean, you if you're buying this and you're like, you want that heft, you want to feel the weight. Yeah, it feels freaking solid. No doubt about it, right? But I just feel like you could mill it out and knock an ounce off of this guy easily, and it would still have that same feeling. It would just be a little bit easier to carry. I mean, an ounce less, right? What is it in the grand scheme of things? But you wouldn't be sacrificing any integrity or anything like that. I've always been shocked that they are still not milling these things out in 2023, but okay. Materials, we are looking at titanium and M390. And unfortunately, we are still looking at a very flat, uninspiring handle. I always reference Fanatic Edge because Fanatic Edge is doing interesting milling. They do like custom after the fact milling and anodizing on these things. And it makes them way more interesting. I really wish that Chaves would have Riot do a texture pattern on the handles. I mean, some people really like the flat, just plain whatever. Some people love that. And you could continue to do this. But maybe also offer versions that have some diagonal lines, right? Just in here before the chamfer line drops. Or a diamond texture. I mean, Fanatic Edge has a few of these in diamond. If you check out Fanatic Edge on Instagram, they've got a few of these on their page where they're showing off their diamond texturing, and it looks amazing. So maybe they've got a deal worked out with Fanatic Edge where they do that and he just leaves them plain. I don't know, right? But the handles are okay. I just really wish they had something else going on because it's so plain, right? Ergonomically, it's good. It's the same sort of experience with this guy, except the choke up here is incredibly uncomfortable and pinchy. This guy, it's not super comfortable, but it's more comfortable because it's just a flat zone, right? It's a little bit more accommodating for your finger because you are not trying to smash the meat of your finger into this teeny tiny little area. I've always said that on the standard ones, they need to make the choil way bigger. On this guy, no, and it's just a little bit better. But the standard grip is probably still going to be the way to go. There's also no thumb studs on this, so there's nothing in the cutting path. You can see here that they just cut the sharpening tool short of where the thumb stud would be. So they should have made it the full distance past the thumb stud anyway, so you could get your finger in there, and when you started your cut, if you cut straight down, it wouldn't run into the thumb stud. On this, we don't have to worry about it at all because there's no thumb stud, right? Still a little bit of curvature there to make it continue to look nice over time if you sharpen it properly, so that's kind of nice. The blade on this one is a compound tanto, so we have hollow right here, and then these grind out by the tip is flat. You have a flat that runs down about, 80%, 75 to 80% the length of the blade, and then we have a nice swedge out here. We've seen this blade shape many, many times. I think it looks really, really good. Of course, the other blade shape, if you don't like the tanto, is the drop point. You can choose whatever you want. They also make these in black. I said in the unboxing, I was like, they should make a black one. They do. There's also a Damasteel version coming out. Crane's Cutlery has this knife in zircotai accents. I'm going to link all of this stuff down in the description. They made a bunch of different variants of these. They also made them in G10. And you can save a little bit of money going with G10, a whopping $10. What is going on with that? I have to imagine it's Riyadh. That's what I have to imagine that Riyadh is just like, nah, they can pay, $10 more and get titanium. That's how people should look at it. You only got to pay $10 more and get titanium. Okay, you guys are massively overcharging for the G10 ones. Like, let's just be real here. The G10 ones should cost way less. It is ridiculous, Matt. To my knowledge, it is literally just a solid piece of G10. Riyadh does a great job. They are one of, if not the very best Chinese production company in the world. They do some of the best work on production knives in existence ever since the dawn of time, right? I don't care what, legend you read about some Japanese swordsmith. No, Riyadh does it better. Don't give me that. But, the G10 is just G10. What the heck is going on with that? That is so weird. Unless what I was looking at was just on a site that didn't have it priced correctly. I don't get it, right? The rest of this knife is the same that this other one is. They still won't knock down these corners. These corners are still kind of sharp, right? The entire thing is kind of a block, right? It's like a rectangle that's slightly more comfortable. A rectangle with finger grooves, right? And it's fine. I mean, you could take this thing out and use it, and I think you'd be okay. I think your hand might fatigue after a bit. Nothing is really sharp except for these corners right here, which is kind of just part of the natural aesthetic of these knives anyway, right? So it's not likely that those are going to change, but they could just knock them down a bit, and it would still take the same shape, right? We have a stop pin that is actually in. Where does this? Let me take a look. I actually assumed that this was the same. It's attached to the Kickstop. Yeah. So the camera just really concerned with the other knife there. It's attached to the Kickstop, which has got to be riding on little channels. In fact, yeah, you can see them in there maybe. And then it stops here and the blade runs into it, which stops it, absolutely. And it is completely and totally solid. No blade play up, down, left, or right. There is still a lock bar insert that doubles as the over travel stop. And I think the plain clip is a little bit kind of just blah looking, but it's fine. And it works really, really well. And it's a milled clip. So we have a milled backspacer. We have a milled clip, M390. We got incredible fit and finish. This is really cool. The Kickstop absolutely takes it up a notch, right? If you're just like, I really love the 229 and I would love it even more with the Kickstop, right? If it's that simple, then go for it. You're going to like this, right? Now, the price tag on these. The base price is for the G10 version, at least what I was looking at. I hope I was looking at the right one. I tried to look at multiple websites, right? But if they're cheaper somewhere else and I'm wrong, then I'm sorry. But I think everywhere is $400 for the G10 in titanium and $410 for the titanium. No, Riyadh, come on. Like, listen, I mean, realistically, the price on everything is up. I want to say I paid $350 to $375 for mine back in 2019. Obviously, things have changed. We can't just pretend, right? I was comfortable paying that then, and I said the same type of stuff. I said the scales are a little boring. I think it would be nice to have some more things going on here or there. I think it's cool that they made a black one. I'm sure they charge you way more money for it, right? And that Crane's Cutlery has Zircotite versions with Zircotite accents. So you can even pay for a Damasteel one if you really want to. That's fine. I think the titanium one is a little bit overpriced. I think they could probably continue to charge about $375 for those, and they'd still be just fine. The G10 one is hilariously overpriced. No, that's a $285 to $300 knife max. I don't know where they're getting this idea that it's $400. That's crazy. If you're gonna buy this knife, buy the titanium one. G10, unless you're just really all about that weight reduction, which it absolutely will. It'll reduce the weight by quite a bit, but I mean, it's just $400. That's crazy for that. This knife is absolutely not for everybody. It's not going to be a knife that I'm going to sit here and say you should absolutely be rushing out and buying this. For people who like the look of the Chaves knife, but maybe they didn't buy it because it didn't have a flipper tab, right? This is the ultimate version of it for you. And especially now, you have to count this in with the value thing here. They are giving you 2 clips, and they are both milled clips, right? I mean, these are clips that probably would run about $25 on an aftermarket site, right? So you can add that in there. So maybe that's why they're charging $400 now. I don't know. But it's not. This isn't an everybody knife. This is like a specific kind of thing. So yeah, I can recommend it to people who've always liked the Chaves aesthetic and just wanted it with a flipper tab. If you're curious, again, the Lee Williams Kickstop is amazing, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see if they do this Kickstop flipper thing on a bunch of different stuff that didn't previously have flipper tabs. The launch off of it is amazing. And I know people are going to be skeptical and be like, how could it be that much better? You're going to be skeptical until you experience it, right? So if not this one, wait for a model that you like and then go for it. Because I can almost guarantee it's going to feel different to you versus a regular flipper tab. It's also shaped really well. It's almost an exclusively light switchy flipper tab, but my goodness, does it fire. It fires hard. All of the energy is transferring from your finger to the blade, and it's just really, really good. I like this a lot. The Lee Williams Kickstop does it for me, but I already liked the Chaves 229. It was already one of my favorite knives. So this knife is also going to go in my favorite knives of all time playlist. But it's not going to go in recommended because I honestly just can't recommend it to everybody. It's not an everybody knife, and the pricing is a little even for a Riyadh, right? So do with that information what you will. Thanks again to eKnives for providing this knife for review. Make sure you check out eKnives. If not for this, then for other things. They've got a lot of great stuff. I'll make sure that they're linked down below. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.